Good evening.
Shall we start, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. A blessed Sunday to all the delegates on forum. We welcome you all for the third day of the six days executive development program jointly organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Center for Capacity Building and Corbros. Before we move into it, I reiterate the reminders. Please switch on your cameras and please check that your mic is on mute so that there won't be any disturbance when the resource person is addressing us. So please check your mic is on mute till the end of the session. And if you have any queries, please type the queries in the chat box. We'll help you out with your queries. Thank you. Life is not about being rich, being popular, highly educated, or perfect. It's about being real, being humble, and being kind. One such humble and kind person is Dr. V. Shanmugam, Associate Professor, Department of Biotechnology, and Director, Center for Research and Development Cell. We invite you, sir, to welcome the August gathering. Dr. Shanmugam, welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Sir, Mano sir, is it audible? Mano
You're
sir?
audible, sir. You're audible.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, all present in this virtual platform. It gives great happiness to welcome our resource person, Dr. P. Baba Gnana Kumar, Director, Institute Ethic College, Center for Consultancy and Corporate Trading. Dr. Baba Gnana Kumar strongly believes on knowledge, skills, values, and attitude that depicts overall development of any person, which leads to wisdom and self-realization. In philosophy, it is said, Sarigai, Kirigai, Yoham, Jnanam, Matrum Mukti, Manida Piravigalin Padigal. With this short introduction, hope Professor Baba Gnana Kumar explicitly explain us about OBE rubrics and question setting. We welcome Professor on behalf of management, Principal Dr. B. Anirudhan, organizing committee members, HOD, Dean, faculty members, and attendees. I also welcome our principal, Dr. B. Anirudhan, who always insists that knowledge, skill, and attitude are in harmony. I cordially welcome you, sir, for this session. I too cordially welcome organizing committee members, directors, head of various departments, members of faculty, and attendees from various parts of this country. I wholeheartedly welcome you all for this faculty development program. Thank you all and welcome you once again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for extending the cordial welcome, Dr. Shanmugam. Thank you so much. A true leader guides you to the path of success even amongst all hardships. And one such great leader is our beloved principal, Dr. B. Anirudhan. We welcome you, sir, to preside over the fourth session of the 6 days EDP. Welcome, sir.
A very glad evening to all of you. It's wonderful to see all of you on a Sunday evening for the cause of learning new things. So these deliberations are to make all of us better teachers or teachers who are equipped to run the show in a better way, to make the students more professional, more approachable, and more socially oriented. So all through my experience as a principal in this college for the past 13 years, I've met a lot of outstanding scholars. And one among them is Baba Gnana Kumar, not for his knowledge, not for his designation, but for the humanity that he extends. Anyone who is in this platform, give me a call. Sir, would you be able to talk to our teachers on so and so topic? And it is not that he'll talk only in OB. He's an expert in, he's a panel member in NIRF, NAC. He's an expert in higher education, connected to different ministries related to higher education. So the simplicity that he holds, the way he conducts him made me feel every time whenever we conduct FDP, I'll try to rope in Dr. Baba sir for this reason that the way he makes people understand, the way he explains things in the simplest possible way, and more importantly, he would like to see the results of what he is doing with some college. For example, if you are inviting him as a resource person, he would like to see that some transformation is happening. It's not that some come and do theoretical explanation and move away from that. So that's a highest quality of a seasoned educator. So when we were talking through NARF, whenever I wanted to have leads from him, he always have guided our college, and we were able to materialize so many things. So he's such a result-oriented person. Hence, I request whichever participant in this forum would like to invite him for a session on anything related to higher education. I believe he will be ready. That has been my experience. So not that, see, all the theory about NEP, about NAC, about NIRF, about other than social auditing, which we have dealt with SLA or hybrid education, we know about everything. The difference is how many of we are ready to make that transformation in our mindset, in our outlook, and the same translation in what is happening in our college. So that makes a lot of sense. So it's not the knowledge that we possess or the information that we get from the people. What really means is what transformation you are able to bring in. In that context, Baba Sir is one of the most ideal person to be invited today with all of us. So I thank you, sir, for having invited
Thank
our
you.
invitation on a single call. So that kind of an approachable person. So end of the day, when we finish the 6th day, after 6 months or 3 months or 1 year, what is it that you are able to bring as a transformation into your in your department, your college, you as a person? That make a lot of sense. And I believe today would be a wonderful day for all of us. I request everybody to listen to him and post queries so that we'll get enlightened about this. And this is a wonderful topic, and we all talk about OBE, but then we are not very seriously into OBE. And what we talk or what today's sir is going to talk also is not the end of OBE. It can always be refined and reformed to make the learning process more interesting, not the teaching process. So once again, I welcome all of you, and my thanks to Dr. Shanmugam for the welcome, Dr. Malti for MOC, and Dr. Selva Vinayaki, who's going to propose vote of thanks, Dr. Shani, and all others in this platform. Stay well, stay safe, and stay united. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Before moving into the session, it's my bound duty to introduce this great personality. Today, amidst, we have a gold medalist in commerce who has received awards for best research paper from IIM Bangalore and IIM Calcutta, research paper award for the project on ICT enabled SCM IIT Delhi, distinguished faculty award from ICBM Hyderabad, AIMS International Award, Venus International Award, Academic Excellence Award, published 60 plus research articles. He has also presented 50 plus papers in various conferences, trained by IIM Bangalore on leadership traits. He was a former principal of a private college in Coimbatore. He served as the executive member in Association of Indian College Principals and completed 25 research projects. He's an active member in AIMS, AIB, AICP, and former Senate member in Bharatiya University, Coimbatore, academic council member and BOS member in autonomous colleges, and sir has delivered 120 speeches as resource person. With this brief introduction, we feel elated to welcome this great person, Dr. Baba Nanakumar, Director for Consultancy and Corporate Training, Christu Jayanti College, Bangalore,
Thank you.
to handle the session on OBE rubrics and question paper setting. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Whether I am audible?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. I will start sharing, madam. Yes. Whether you are able to see
Yes, sir, it is
screen?
visible, sir. Yes, sir, yes, sir, it is visible.
Mm. Yes. Mm. So, good evening, all of you. First, I express my sincere thanks to my close friend and the principal of Nehru Arts and Science College, Dr. Anirudhan sir. Thank you for approaching me and to organize this program. Then my thanks due to IQSC members of Nehru Arts and Science College and the person who introduced me and given the welcome address. So first of all, I thank all the organizers of this program. I'm able to see all the faces of the faculty members during the Sunday. That is very important thing. I know each and every person is having some work or it may be a rest time, but everybody joined during the Sunday. So first, I thank all of you for inviting me on Sunday, and you are also very active during the Sunday. That is very important thing. So with this small introduction, I will start my session. So today's session topic is, as you know, we are going to discuss about the rubrics based upon the OBE as well as the how we can set the question papers based upon this OBE. There are a number of options. It depends upon you because you are the king for your class. As a faculty, you are the king and you can decide your own. But we are having certain norms and regulations. Even the UGC is now stating that all the colleges should go for the OBE, even the non-autonomous colleges. So in this background only, this program is organized. So my part is clear. We will discuss the basic thing regarding the rubrics based upon this outcome based education. Even in case of the new education policy, now we are thinking about the OBE, how this outcome based education is linked with the OBE as well as in the new education policy. That is very important thing. So some of you already had about same thing because I already handled one session for you. I think in last year, it, same thing, something different, but the concept is different. I'm going to present today. So my presentation is scheduled like this. First one is what is the rubrics, how we can construct the rubrics, then how we can create a nice rubrics based upon this taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy. Then the questions, how we can create questions. There are two things. One is for the examination purpose. COE must know that one. Then the questions for the activity. That is also a very important thing. So rubrics for activity is also one type of question. Then we'll discuss few softwares used for the purpose of measuring the rubrics. Oh, that is today's agenda. So any queries you can put up in the chat at the end. You can note down. We will discuss. I hope we are having sufficient time to discuss everything. Okay. So the first part is the rubrics. Simple thing. I have displayed the very classical example of the rubric. Be clear that rubric is a noun form. Then you must know what is this rubric. And 10 years back, nobody is thinking about the rubrics. They used to have the rubric, but they never tell that this is the rubrics. But now everywhere, they are asking what is the rubrics. Even in case of PhD evaluation, they are asking about create your rubrics and then you can start evaluating. You can suggest the rubrics for the other examiner also. Such thing is going on. Recently, I have received one of the PhD evaluation thesis. They mentioned that you can first submit your rubrics for assessment. And if the institution is satisfied with the rubrics of your assessment, then we will send the thesis to you for evaluation. I thought, what is this practice? But we have to do like that. That is the new thing. If previously it starts from the school education. In case of schools, they used to create a rubric to evaluate the students' behavior and how to give marks for the particular paper and particular writings. Then it's entered into the degree level programs in India. Now it is moving to the PhD level. See that one, how far the rubrics is moving in the direction. As per the new education policy also, we have to create the rubrics because as per the new education policy, we are having a big problem. If a paper is evaluated by one person, he is giving 72 marks. The same paper is evaluated by another person, they are giving 68 marks or sometimes even 50 marks. There are a lot of difference. To avoid such type of inequalities, we need rubrics. That is the core aim of creating the rubrics. You can see in this image clearly what is the meaning of that rubrics. It is a tool only. How to evaluate? Simple thing. That is why it is mentioned. It is a mechanism only to assess or scoring. Then a student demonstration. If a student is writing a single line, how we are assessing him. If we are assessing same thing is assessed by some other person, the result will be same. That is why we need the rubrics. That is why it is clearly defined. It is a mechanism of assessing. Then we are going to assess the student's work, student's demonstration. It may be a problem, or it may be an activity, or it may be a theory question, whatever it may be. We need standard set of rules. In case of the evaluation part, we used to call it a scheme. Scheme means we will mention 5 marks, give 5 marks for first A, 6 marks for section B, and 10 marks for section C, like that. That is why we will subdivide and give the scheme. But rubric is different. When you have to give 5 marks, when you have to give 4 marks, that you have to clearly define in case of the rubrics. That is the purpose. Okay. So first we have to understand the clear-cut meaning of the rubrics. And traditionally speaking, you might have seen in case of school level, I'm showing this image. It is also a rubric to measure the intellectual skills of a particular person. It is also considered as a rubric once. Usually it consists of 3 things. First one is the row, then the outcome, then the scores. We will see in the next slide. You can see simple thing. This is the simple structure of the rubric. You can see the basic feature of the rubric. One side we are mentioning the different criteria. Then what is the level 1, 2, 3, like that. It may go up to 5 or 10. So any rubric should have this thing. In case of OBE, what we call it as course outcomes. So for each course outcome, we have to define when we have to give good, when we have to say it is an average, when we have to say poor. This is the only the model. Inside that is the very important thing. When we will give good for the course outcome 1, when we will give good for or average for the course outcome 2, when we will say that the student course outcome obtaining is poor. That we have to define clearly. That is the purpose of rubrics. Anything, even in case of English writing or mathematics, there is need for a rubric. You can see I am giving a simple example. If a student is presenting, this is an activity rubric. How you will give the marks for that one. You can see when we will give excellent, when we have to give competent, when we have to say it needs some work. This is the outline, but inside that one, we have to write clearly. This is equivalent to a scheme. The scheme says that knowledge or understanding, we are going to give 20 marks. For thinking purpose, we had give 30% mark. Communication, 20 marks. Use of visual ads, we can give 20. Presentation, 10 marks. This is called the scheme. But the rubrics is coming inside that one. Knowledge and understanding. When we will say excellent. When we will say the knowledge of the particular student is competent. When we have to say the student should need some work, he has to resubmit. That inside content is very important for the rubric. We will see more examples today. So even in case of question paper, when you are setting the question paper, we must know this thing. That is why we are having a set of rubrics. So be clear. In this stage, you are able to differentiate between what is the scheme of evaluation and what is the rubric. This is a scheme, but the inside boxes that consist of the rubric. Okay, we will see some of the examples. For this purpose only, we are having a method. And this has been introduced by the Blooms. Very old theory. In the year 1956 itself, the Bloom's theory has been introduced. Of course, in India, only after we signed an agreement, then only we started using the Bloom's taxonomy. It is already in existence, very old one, 1956. Then in the year 2004, and subsequently in the 2014, they revised the Bloom's taxonomy. How we can effectively introduce these Blooms, they made it clear. Okay, so Bloom's taxonomy is a tool used for creating a rubric. You have to understand. In previous example, we have seen some of the boxes. Scheme is mentioned. There are few boxes are there. To enable to write something in the box, they created the concept called Bloom's taxonomy. You have to understand. It is only a tool. It is not necessary that we have to follow. But if you follow, it will go in the same direction. It is a tool. This equivalent to a measurement technique. For this purpose, they created the Bloom's taxonomy. So there are 3 levels of Bloom's taxonomy. First one is called cognitive domain, which will instruct you how to measure the knowledge level of a particular student. We will see some example when we are discussing that one also. Knowledge that is used for our purpose. Usually when you are asking a question to a student, we will test the cognitive knowledge, whether the student has understood. Even if you are asking a particular news, who is the Education Minister of India? That is the cognitive skill you are checking. If you are teaching a simple concept, either in science or in mathematics or in commerce, all this comes under the cognitive skill. We will see example one by one later on. Then the affective one. Affective domain means it is equivalent to a behavioral part. It consists of 5 levels. We will see one by one later on. It is called the attitudes. How to measure the attitude of the student. That is important. In case of new education policy, they are clearly mentioning that we have to measure the attitude levels. We can't only keep silent in the cognitive thing. If you are teaching basic accounting, at the end, the student is able to prepare an account statement by his own. Whether the attitude changes That is very important thing. How the attitude is changing. It is the affective domain. Then comes to the psychomotor. What are all the additional skills the student are able to possess based upon your teaching? You are teaching good interest rate calculation, PNR by 100. Okay, everything is over. You have checked that the students understand the concept of PNR by 100, but how the student is using that one? If he goes to a particular bank, whether he is able to use that application of that one. He is able to calculate the interest rate, compound rate, simple interest rate, all these things in the bank. That is important. So recently the University Grants Commission is giving more importance to these two domains also, affective and psychomotor domain also. Previously, when the Bloom's taxonomy was introduced, they used to give the importance for the cognitive. The cognitive domain means we are checking the knowledge level. They used to give importance for the knowledge level. But now, in case of the new education policy, they are thinking how you can introduce the affective and psychomotor domain. That is very important thing also. Because in our education system, we are lacking beyond the measurement of affective and psychomotor domain. We are simply seeing our students who written all these things, so we can give marks and give 90%. But what is his practical life? Whether he is able to use that one, whether his attitude is changing. First year, when he is joining in a BSc degree, what is his attitude? After completing the degree program, what is his attitude? Whether there's a change in the attitude. Dear faculty members, that is the change. If you are able to measure this affective and psychomotor domain with a good rubric, the student will be shaped neatly. The less work for the placement director. We can easily place the student and he himself do his own work, maybe a future entrepreneur. That is the aim. So that is why in new education policy, they are giving importance even for the affective and psychomotor domain. That is why I am starting from the reverse level, because usually in case of examination point of view, we used to set the question paper based upon the cognitive level. But recently we are giving importance to this psychomotor domain. So dear faculty members, try to understand. After once again studying about the cognitive domain, we'll go back to psychomotor. In case of psychomotor domain also, the skills acquired, how a student is able to apply. That is very important. You can see the perception, then the set, guided response, mechanism, adaptation, his own origination. If an English teacher is teaching grammar, everything, suddenly after 2 months, whether the same student is able to write English essay at his own, whether we are going to impart the original thinking to a student, he himself is able to do without any guidance. Anyhow, first we will guide, we will tell the application. Then in future, he is able to do. Usually this type of domain they are using in professional courses, including the law colleges also. Previously it was used in engineering courses as well as in medical. Medical, it is compulsory because they have to use. That is why they are having an internship training for 1 year. And even in some cases more than 2 years also. So in psychomotor domain, what should I be able to do if I complete a particular course? So teachers, you have to think like that. If a student completes a particular course, what he is able to do. That is why in case of OBE concept, we used to say that program specific objectives. So as per the new education policy, the program specific objectives should be measured with psychomotor domain only. This is very clear. I think in case of Tamil Nadu, they are not introducing, but since I am in Bangalore, in Karnataka, they already started introducing as per the new education policy. And in few states, they already started. Something they changed according to the regional level, but they started. Even in future, these things we can accept except the language policy. Because we must know clearly what will be psychomotor domain. If a student complete BCom, after completing the course, how he should be, whether he is able to do accounting work at his own or with the help of guides. All these things are essential. When you are teaching, your teaching should be streamlined in such a manner that it should be understood. That is the use of psychomotor domain. Coming to the affective domain, you can see the power of wisdom. We used to call it as wisdom. It is somewhat like feelings, intangible and unmeasurable attitude change. Students are studying the ethics here. Even I am teaching in case of MBA level, the ethics for the PG students. After completing this management program or any program, whether the student attitude is changing, that is very important thing. What type of attitude? When they join in a particular college, is joining, he may not be able to speak in English or in any language clearly. At least after completing that one, what is the changes in the attitude? How he is speaking? How he is giving respect? It is simply based upon like classical education type of Gurukul level. In those days, we used to have Gurukul type of education, Gurukula Kalvi. Same thing. There they used to teach clearly the attitudes. What are all the attitudes a student should need? It is missing nowadays. But that concept is followed in case of even Western countries and American countries in the form of affective domain. We may not know, but it is still followed. But in case of India, when there's a change towards the modern education, we forget about such system. The attitude change, how the feelings is changing. When he enters into the campus, when he joined in the first year level, he may not give respect. He assumes that he is a big student, he is a now big person, but he won't give respect and he won't give importance to others. But when he is leaving, how far his attitude is changing. We have to teach. Not only in the attitude part of the behavior, but also in the subject part. When we are teaching for BSc program, electronics program, after the completion of BSc electronics, whether he is able to say, sir or madam, can I able to create a new design? That is also change the attitude. He has to come forward to acquire knowledge, or he has to come forward to create something for his own wisdom. That is essential. When we used to teach their faculty members, think about that one. That is the purpose of this Bloom's taxonomy. Whenever we are teaching, we have to think, we have to shape our mindset in such a manner that a student is able to understand all these three type of domain. So these three type is very, very important thing in the Bloom's taxonomy. That is why in case of outcome-based education, we are having certain measurement level. How we can measure all those things. Here you can see the example of one simple rubrics. See that one. This rubrics is used in mathematics or can be used in simple calculation. A question consists of 4 marks. When you will give 0, when you will give 1, when you have to give 2, when you have to give 3, when you have to give 4. It is well defined. This you can see every boxes is having some wordings inside that one. That is the rubrics. You can say no attempt is made. A student is not attempting means we are giving 0 marks. Then you can come to the first level. The student demonstrate little understanding of mathematics. Information is incorrect, but something is able to explain or justify. We can give 1 mark. When we have to give the 2 mark, something information is correct, minor computational errors, is unable to make some calculation mistake. But the student is able to demonstrate limited understanding of the formula. We can give 2 marks. Likewise, you can see that 3 marks. 4 marks means he is able to demonstrate an in-depth understanding of the particular sum. We can give full marks so that whoever is evaluating this thing, they can use the same rubrics and mention clearly, and they will give same marks. There won't be any difference. Another thing, we will inform this one to the students. Dear students, we are going to give evaluation like this. Be clear. That is important. We should not say if the mathematics your answer is correct, then only we will give full marks. That is wrong concept nowadays. Because we are checking whether the student is using some method, whether he is thinking power. So this is a rubric. This is based upon the cognitive thinking power. Of course, the attitude is not here. That we'll see different examples. Attitude measurement. Okay. This is a rubric. Here is a simple question. How to measure the cognitive level. Because we have to create question. When we will give 4 marks, 5 marks, everything. In cognitive level of Bloom's taxonomy. Say, for example, you are asking a question. Who is the father of India? Simple thing, same question in case of third standard, they might have asked. Now he is in college. In the first year level of undergraduate program, that is graduation level, first year. You are going to ask the same question. So when you will give full marks, what is the level you can fix? You can see in this example, a student is simply writing the answer. Who is the father of India? M.K. Gandhi. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Simple thing. That's all. That means that he still remembers what he studied in the third standard. In those days, he studied in third standard. His miss used to start with the story that Gandhiji is the father of our nation. Still, he is coming to the college level. He is able to remember. So, in cognitive domain, the first level is remembering. Remembering means whether a student is able to remember. That is the basic level. Then he is mentioning there is some other answer. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was pioneer in getting freedom to India. Yeah, he remembers that is the Mahatma Gandhi. Then he is mentioning since he fought for our nation and he get the freedom to India, he is called as the father of nation. That means he understand. Be clear. Same question. Now it is called as understanding level. Be clear. First level is remembering. A student is able to remember. The father of nation is M.K. Gandhi. In the second level, he is able to say something. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was able to get the freedom to India. That is why we called as the Gandhi. And he is the father of nation. He is able to understand. Be clear. This is the second level of cognitive level. Then coming to the other student, another student is saying Gandhiji was the politician. He is a leader. He is a very good activist. He is a lawyer. He played most important role in India's freedom. No, he is able to apply his mind because he think, okay, Gandhi was the considered as the father of India. He understand that he is applying his mind to clearly mention that Gandhi was the activist lawyer. Now he is applying his mind and his level is considered as the applying. Then you can see another student is writing the answer. Gandhi was the father of India. He assumed the leadership of Indian National Congress in 1921 and rose to become its most prominent leader and an iconic figure in Indian politics. He analyzed, even the number of persons fought for our freedom, why we are considering Mahatma Gandhi? Because he is an iconic figure in Indian politics. He is able to analyze now. He applied his mind. Now he is analyzing. See that one. That is the change. This Bloom's level, we used to call it as analyzing. A person is able to analyze. Then he is able to give the result. That is the fourth level. Then another student is mentioning all these things, plus he is one of the most admirable person in the century. That means he is comparing Mahatma Gandhi with other leaders from other countries, Nelson Mandela, or any other persons from other country. And finally, he concludes that he is an admirable person in this century. That means he is able to evaluate. Dear faculty members, see that one. How a student is having the evaluation capacity, he evaluate that one. That is why it's mentioned that he is one of the most admirable. He is comparing others and evaluating. Then coming to the next level, a person is writing, the idea of non-violent resistance is to be followed by the new leaders based upon the Mahatma Gandhi. That means he is telling new ways for the creating a new leaders. The why we are studying about Mahatma Gandhi, he analyzed, he evaluated. Now he is telling based upon the Mahatma Gandhi. Just we have to go for non-violence. The future leaders should follow the non-violence. That means he is thinking about how we have to create a new leader. It is the creating. This is a simple example of the Bloom's taxonomy. Dear faculty members. So, if you ask the question, the answer is in such a manner, how to give the marks. In Bloom's taxonomy, we are having 6 levels. This is the revised levels. Whether a student is able to remember, whether a student is able to understand, whether a student is able to apply, then analyze, then evaluate, then able to create. We will give high marks for the creating and low marks for the remembering. 0 marks for nothing. This is the basic of the rubric in higher education. That's what our country needs. In those days, even when I was the examiner in some of the universities, the chief has to tell, he will tell, the question is simply who is the father of India. If a student mentioned Gandhi, you can give full marks. First question is for 5 marks, give 5 marks, but it is not like that. No. It never means that we are discouraging the students. It is not like that. We are telling the students that we are going to evaluate you based upon the Bloom's taxonomy in these methods. Whether you are able to remember, whether you are able to understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. This is the foundation of the rubrics in higher education. All the faculty members must know, so that when you are evaluating, you must know clearly. Then only we are able to form the question paper based upon the system. That is why this is the foundation. So in case of Bloom's taxonomy also, they are saying same thing. This consists of 6 levels. That is the cognitive domain is consists of 6 levels. Out of 6 levels, first one is the basic level, that is remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing. Likewise. So dear faculty members, if you inform these to our students, automatically for each and every question, the student will start thinking up to the creation level. That is important. Okay. That is why this we are telling that we have to go for OBE, OBE, OBE. You must know why we need OBE. This is the outcome we are expecting. A first year student, if you are asking who is the father of India, he knows he studied in third standard. Now he is in degree level. What type of answer we have to expect? That is the rubrics. Okay. Now I hope you will understand the rubrics. Based upon that, I'm moving to the questions. Then I will come back to the rubrics for the affective and psychomotor domain. Okay. Let us see a simple example of the OBE concept. I'm taking the marketing. Maybe marketing means anybody can easily understand. That is why I consider the marketing. Same example I was told once in one of the colleges. So don't mistake me. It is very easy to understand. That is why I selected this one. The model format. In case of a course, let us assume a course called marketing. We are having the 3 outcomes. 3 outcomes means after completing this marketing course, what the student is expected to be. That is important. Be clear. If you are completed teaching the marketing course, what you are expecting from the student. Okay. Well, we fix the 3 course outcome. Better, we can limit that one, need not go for all the cognitive domain, creating level. We can go for a simple thing, 3. Then only we are able to know our students. In engineering, we need more level. But in arts and science, we can restrict to limit 1, but we have to achieve clearly. That is our aim. Say that, for example, course outcome 1 is understand the marketing principle, the cognitive level 1. 1 means we have to check whether a student understands that one. First 2 level. Who is the father of India? At least he is able to write M.K. Gandhi. But here marketing, then second course outcome we are fixing out whether he is able to apply the marketing strategies. The next higher level. Be clear. The course outcome itself is in the order that the first level, second level, and third level. First level is the understanding level. Next level is applying. Then the highest level, the evaluation level. 3 levels we fixed and fix the course outcome like this. Understanding, applying, and evaluating. We fixed like that. Okay. So how you are going to measure the outcomes? Let us see the course outcomes for the outcome. We are following the cognitive level. That is the Bloom's taxonomy. Same thing, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating. In Bloom's taxonomy, they given some of the verbs to ask the questions itself. We have discussed it. If you want to ask a question about the level 1 of remembering, you can use these verbs: define, describe, duplicate, enumerate, etc. But it is only a guidelines. It never means that you have to strictly follow this thing. Because some of them says that in our subject we can't ask. It depends upon your subject. You have to check the remembering level. These are all some hints only. How you are able to check the remembering level. So we are having this thing: remembering, understanding, applying. There are two different methods. First one, usually UGC is insisting for the non-autonomous college. First, I will tell that one. In the first method of asking question and to check the rubric is based upon the quiz or objective type questions. Because most of the non-autonomous college, they are not having the exam system by its own. Only university will done everything. That is why for non-autonomous college, they are recommending. Even for autonomous college, to check the course outcome on, we can do like that. It is not wrong. But what our government is suggesting, in case of non-autonomous college, you can conduct a quiz test or multiple choice test to check all these things. Okay. So you can see the example, how we can check the basic marketing principles a student must know. You can say the marketing mix refers to the set of actions or tactics that a company uses to promote its brand or product in the market. We are giving the clue first. You should not ask the question directly, identify the marketing mix in the following entities. That is important because we have, without giving clue, without the analyzing up capacity of the faculty, how a student is able to do. So a clue should be given. The meaning of marketing mix we are given. Then we are asking the question, identify the marketing mix. Identify comes under the understanding level or even the remembering level. So first level. So in this question, there is a verb called identify. And this is used to check the first level course outcome, which is the foundation level. So in the foundation level, we are checking this outcome. We are checking whether the student understand the basic marketing principle. I given the another example also. Another any number of questions we can ask. But here is a sample. Newsletter, catalogs, and invitations to organization-sponsored events are most closely classified with the marketing mix activity of. So here, the main verb is classification because we wish to know whether a student understands that one. So under which classification a student will do. Instead of mentioning 1, 2, 3 direct questions, we are checking that one. This is the method of asking questions under the rubrics. The method of question is multiple choice questions and the rubric is based upon the multiple choice only. But when you are defining the rubric, the question should be clear. Question should have a backup, a very good case example or a neat clue for answering that one. Then only we have to ask. Better we can follow the guidelines given in the Bloom's taxonomy verbs. So course outcome is the foundation level. In the foundation level, we are going to check the minimum outcome. That is why we are using identify, then classify. See that one. Likewise, you can see the course outcome too. You have to check whether the student is applying his mindset. How far he is able to apply his mindset, we are checking. So in this stage, we are using the questions like that. Choose. Choose is used in apply. It may be also used in other words, but here we are using the choose verb for the purpose of applying. Choose the first stage in the new product development. That means whether he knows, whether he is able to apply, then a target group is categorized as whether after studying the product life cycle concept in marketing, whether a student is able to understand this marketing strategies, whether he is applying. Even you can give a big example, one company case study you can give, then you can find out whether he is able to apply. Likewise, in course outcome 3, the student is able to evaluate. So we are using the verbs for the evaluation. You can see evaluate the brands. Choose the firm that uses the brand slogan complete man, so that the student will check whether the complete man will fit for Raymond, Honda, Sony, or LIC. We are giving importance for the students to evaluate. He may immediately think what is the brand slogan for Raymond, Honda, Sony, and LIC. That is important. Instead of asking directly, we are moving that method. This is the method of asking questions. These are all the only samples. I never say that we have to compulsorily use this thing. It depends upon the faculty. But our concept is once he studied, whether he is able to evaluate this thing. That is very important thing. In this example, he is able to evaluate the brand slogan of the Raymond, Honda, Sony. So when he is answering these questions, his mindset will think, what is this slogan for Raymond? What is the slogan for Honda? Likewise, McDonald. That is the concept. It depends upon the faculty members only, how to use that one. Coming to the next method of questions, when you are going for summative assessment, how we can create, how we can ask the questions. You can see there are two methods in summative assessment. One, they are saying that we can have the assignment for evaluating the course outcome 1, midterm examination for evaluating the course outcome 2, and end semester examination for evaluating the course outcome 3. This is another interesting method of asking questions. See that one. This is followed by some of the departments in which the syllabus is in such a manner that it is moving in step-by-step manner to the highest level. If the syllabus is like that, in the first unit, it is the basic concept. In second and third units, it is moving to the higher order, and last unit is the very higher order. Means we can go in this method. That is level 1. We can have the questions for the assignment or quiz. Course outcome 1 is measured through the quiz. Course outcome 2, we can design the question paper for the midterm examination based upon the course outcome 2. And end semester examination may be based upon the course outcome 3. That is the one method of evaluating the course outcomes. I will show the questions also after this one. Okay. Yes. And there is another method. In this method, usually I hope most of the colleges are following. In case of engineering, it is made like that only. Each and every question set consists of all the course outcome, whether it is midterm or whether it is in semester examination. When you are setting the question paper, all the question paper consists of the method of evaluating the first course outcome, second and third. See that one. Section A questions are fully based upon the measuring the first course outcome. It will, there are some questions with regarding to the understanding. Section B may be based upon the questions for measuring the course outcome 2. And the course outcome 3 will be measured in the big questions. That is the thing. In such case, how we can set the question papers? Here is an example. You can see section A is used for measuring the first level. It may be remembering and understanding. So the questions will be like that: compare, describe, compare, classify, illustrate, identify, indicate. So section A will clearly shows the course outcome 1, and the rubrics are based upon the Bloom's level, cognitive level, or first level. We are using the verbs for the rubrics from the first question. Compare, describe, like that. Okay. Coming to the next part, section B. Usually section B means the second level. We can go for the third and fourth cognitive levels. So we can use the verbs called explain, illustrate, devise, dissect, critically. Whatever maybe we have seen the examples in case of the Bloom's level. That level we can use here in the section B, because section B is used to measure the second level of course outcome, and second level of course outcome is based upon the middle level of Bloom's taxonomy. So our rubrics should be based upon the verbs based upon the second levels. Okay. Likewise, section B may be some case studies or anything. It depends upon you. Because if you want to measure the level 3, it may be the highest level. And course outcome 3 will be the highest level of 1. So the students are able to evaluate, or they are able to create. So we are using the verbs from the third one. This is the proposed model. In most of the cases, section A, B, C, all are mixed now. Even they will ask first question from course outcome 1, second question from course outcome 2, third question from course outcome 3, like that. That is also possible, but here I used to classify. This method is used for taking question paper in all the levels. Whatever the midterm you are organizing, the section A marks, total marks is applicable for achievement of course outcome 1. Section 2 marks will be used for achieving the course outcome 2. Section C is used for that purpose. The marks scored by the student is used for measuring the course outcome 3. It is very easy, because in future we have to mention when the course outcomes in different levels. That is the purpose why the questions are divided like that. This is a nice method used in most of the colleges. UGC is not mentioning we have to follow this one only. In case of engineering, they are following mixed one. But they are measuring course outcome 1, 2, 3. All the questions are mingled together. First question is from course outcome 2, then second maybe 3, third 2, like that. But in arts and science stream, this is the recommendation given by the one of the biggest committee recently in 2020 regarding how we can go for the checking. That is, in my view, it is very easy. You can adopt the first method. You can conduct assignment. Assignment is used for or quiz inside the class. You can test the course outcome 1. Midterm test you can use for the course outcome 2. And the end semester examination, you can give the brief questions or descriptive questions, which can be used for testing the course outcome 3. These are all the different methods in asking the questions. Okay, so that is the question paper setting based upon the rubrics. And before winding up, I will tell some of the rubrics used in the cognitive, other than the cognitive level, affective domain, as well as psychomotor domain. Okay, activity. If you are conducting a small activity inside the classroom, how you are creating the rubrics. This is also a question paper. Remember that is important. People feel that, okay, I'm giving an activity to students, so there is no need for question paper. But there is need for question paper. Question paper is your rubric. It is not the scheme. Scheme says that for activity, give 5 marks. That's all. When you will give 5 marks, when you have to give 2 marks, that you have to decide. So here are some of the examples I am telling. You can see. And these rubrics are based upon one of the famous author, Dave. This is also the extension of the Bloom's taxonomy. In case of Bloom's taxonomy, it will same thing. We are having the cognitive level, then affective and psychomotor. To measure the affective and psychomotor domain, this person, Dave, has given in one order. Say, for example, when a student is joining in the first year, what are all the basic skills he should have? Imitate. And in the second semester, he is able to manipulate. In the third semester, he is able to go for precision whenever he is writing. In fourth semester, he is able to articulate. And in the fifth semester, he is able to have the naturalization. He is able to do himself. That is what this Bloom's taxonomy is saying. First level imitation, manipulation, precision, and articulation, we are using the affective domain. Where in naturalization, we are using the psychomotor domain. That is very important new education policy, as well as most of the institutions in European countries. They are following that one. But we are thinking about teaching is the only thing. But we have to give more activity and test the students. If they are studying for 3 years, how there's a change of attitude from the first semester to sixth semester. Sixth semester we can't measure because he is moving out. So sixth semester he is able to be placed. So how we can do? We can train the students in this order. This is an extension of Bloom's taxonomy for creating the rubrics created by Professor Dev, and it is also redefined as the didactics pedagogy. Now they are telling us the didactics pedagogy. So how we can give the students, and in case of our institution, we are following that one. First year, first semester when they are coming, we will give some activity, role play, live reporting. In next semester, we'll give the activity on small group communication, negotiation. Then after that, we will give debate and some other pitching through presentation. In coming to the fourth semester, we'll give the story writing and reading. Finally, we wish to check the psychomotor domain based upon how he is able to speak and how he is able to brand himself. Remember that first year itself, we can't expect the student should speak nicely in the domain area because he has not studied anything in the domain. That is why, according to Dave, he mentioned only in the last level. For that purpose, he created the nice rubrics also. You can see the rubrics for the group activity. The inside things are very important. The scheme says that we have to give marks for processing skill, time management, cooperation, neatness, and orderliness. But the rubrics inside that one is saying clearly, beginner means for the processing skill when we have to give 1 mark. Members do not demonstrate targeted process skill. Then we can give 1 mark. You can see when we can go for the higher level mark in the process skill, the member is always demonstrating and targeting the process skill, we can give the 3 marks. See that one. This criteria is the scheme of evaluation, and inside that box from second column to last column, that is the rubrics. So this Professor Dev mentioned one, put that. Yes, given how to measure that one. First year, we are giving the activity. Yes, there are a number of examples. You can see another example rubric for assessing the group activity. Here is another type of rubrics for live reporting, because one student may think that it is a cat, another students may think that it is a lion. So how you are going to evaluate? You can see this is also a rubric. Presenters level of success in delivering. If it is excellent, give full mark. This is another type of rubrics to give for the activity. You can see. So another activity in the when he is coming to the third semester. If a group of students is debating and they are communicating among themselves, how to give the marks. See that one, each and every stage has been well defined. If you inform these to students, automatically the students' behavior will change. Attitude will change. Our mistake, including me, we are not telling all these things to our students. If we inform, we are going to measure based upon these rubrics. They will read, teacher should inform this thing before performing the activity. This is the question for the activity. They will understand and see that one. For each and every activity, even for the negotiation skill, we have defined that one. Another one. These are all coming under the affected domains. A debate. When we have to give the student unsatisfactory, when we can say it is an excellent one. Then if a student is presenting, how we can evaluate? You can see the scheme says that body language, eye contact, introduction, pacing, both voice. This is the scheme. For each scheme, when we have to give 4 marks, 3 marks, 2 mark, 1 mark. Inside that one, we have to define. So this is the rubric for each and everything. Even you are asking the student to tell a story, how to give a rubric for that one. So, dear faculty members, each and every stage we have to define the rubric. It is already defined. You need not create. Only thing, if you want, you can change something. That's all, based upon your student's level. Otherwise, you can use the same rubrics, which are all based upon the Bloom's taxonomy. Here, if a student is reading, how we have to give the marks. That is why in the new education policy, it is mostly concerned with the activity level instead of teaching the cognitive component. How we have to give importance for these rubrics, that is especially the cognitive and psychomotor. You can see the speaking. How a student should speak. He is able to listen and speak. This is in the final level. Never give this one to the first year level. That is what the UGC is also suggesting. Most of the cases, first year itself we are giving. That is for English language. Even there's some rubrics for listening. If you are telling something, how a student is listening. We can create the rubrics. These are all the questions for creating the rubrics. Another one, you can see. Coming to the psychomotor domain, the advanced level, how we are converting a BCom student into a professional person. First year he is joining as a student. When he is moving out, he is considered as a professional person. This is coming under the psychomotor domains. This is how we can measure the psychomotor. There are two things. This is created by the Stanford universities. They are using same thing. So how a BCom student become a professional thing. See that one. How a student is able to brand. If you give importance for the psychomotor domain, definitely in case of NARF, our perception factor will improve. That is why in case of NARF, still the perception factor is there. Why we are having the perception factor? Whether your student is able to achieve the psychomotor domain correctly. If our student is able to achieve the psychomotor domain, automatically our perception should come. That is why I'm showing the example of cinema actor Rajinikanth Kala. How he used to brand. Air Asia is branding the Rajinikanth in that film. This thing, if our students are our brand ambassadors, then our perception will increase. It will help to our students as well as for the institution growth. This is what we expect. At the end of the 5th and 6th semester, a student is able to achieve that one. Dear faculty members, think that one. You can move in that same order. It is very essential. Okay. Now these rubrics are available in the digital platforms. So I am concluding with the help of few words. That is, we are having the iRubric technologies. RubyStar is another software used to measure the rubrics. Quick rubric is there. Moodle is also having now rubrics if you are going for the online teaching. Then easy rubric. These are all some of the software tools. Of course, there is no need for software tools if you are very good in rubrics. You can do it yourself. But these are all the software. iCloud is very famous. And in some of the institutions, they are using the iCloud for measuring the rubrics because they wish to increase their perception level. To increase their perception level, they are moving towards the iCloud. Okay. So we can also use this type of technology to measure our students. So finally, I hope you can mold your students based upon all those things. If you create a good rubrics, and for each and every rubrics, if you create a questions like that, definitely our students will be the role model. They are the future leaders. They automatically create perception to our institution as well as the students itself for them. That is the main aim. I hope you are able to do. Thank you. Now you can ask
Thank you
questions.
so much.
Um,
Sir, you want
yes,
to say
sir.
something?
No. Any questions you can.
Yes, sir. Yes, I'll read out the questions. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your expertise. Thank you so much.
Mm.
And there are so many appreciations in the chat box, and we do have questions. Shall I read out the questions, sir?
Yes, madam.
1 minute, sir.
Wait, I am able to. There are a number of questions.
Yes, sir. Yes. So one is from Mr. Gokul. How is Bloom taxonomy used to create the rubric values? Please give an example.
Yes, that's what I gave the example. Who is the father of India? That is a very good example of how the Bloom's taxonomy is used for the purpose of creating the rubrics. In Bloom's taxonomy, you are having 6 levels. It starts from the remembering, understanding level to the creativity. For each and every level, we have to create the rubrics. Your question is simply, who is the father of India? If a student understands, it is only the M.K. Gandhi. That is a simple example how you can know the different levels in Bloom's taxonomy of cognitive domain and the student's answer.
Thank you, sir. And there is one question from Dr. Vijay Raghavan. Is there any difference in writing lesson objectives using revised Bloom taxonomy in autonomous and affiliated colleges? If so, kindly give few suggestions.
Yes, usually it is not lesson outcome. Lesson outcome means when you are teaching a particular lesson, you have to define what will be the outcome of your lesson. But usually in case of syllabus, we are insisting course outcome. Course outcome means if you are teaching one course, marketing or economics, what is your expectation? When a student complete that course, what are all the things a student should understand? What are all the things a student is able to apply? What are the things the students are able to create? That's 6 levels. Okay, that is how we have to define.
Sir, we have only those 2 questions. Other than that, it is all appreciation for the excellent session and information.
Okay, madam, thank you.
That's it, sir. Only 2 questions we had. So thanks to all the participants, and once again, we thank you, sir. She
Thank
was
you.
powerful not because she wasn't scared, but because she was on to so strongly despite the fear. Such a strong woman is Dr. Selva Vinayaki, Head Department of Computer Applications. We welcome you, ma'am, to propose the vote of thanks. Welcome, ma'am.
Malti ma'am, can you hear me? Am I
Yes,
audible?
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Yes.
Malti ma'am. Most respected principal, most valuable guest of the day, head of the departments, dear participants, organizing team, and dear faculty members, a very pleasant evening. First and foremost, I thank our management for motivating us to organize the program for the beneficial of the teaching community. It is a matter of pride for me to express It is a matter of pride for me to express a sincere sense of gratitude and hearty thanks to our beloved principal, Dr. B. Anirudhan, for presiding over the third day of this executive development program. Thank you, sir, for giving your vital time from your busy schedule to preside over the program. Thank you, sir. We are grateful to Dr. Baba Nanakumar, Director, KJC, Center for Consultancy, Corporate Training, Kristu Jayanti College, Bengaluru, for accepting our invitation to be the speaker of the day. On behalf of entire community of Nehru Arts and Science College, I would like to render our appreciation and sincere thanks
Thank you.
for delivering a valuable technical session on OBE rubrics and question settings. So today we updated
you.
ourselves on the cognitive domain of Bloom's taxonomy, course outcomes, measurements using rubric methods, then how to map course outcomes with Bloom's taxonomy, how to integrate rubrics with taxonomy, and rubrics for branding. Thank you for adoring your ideas and sharing your grateful opinion with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have been fortunate to have a renowned identity from academics and other domains. I am thankful to the entire participants who have joined with us today. Thank you, everybody. I take this opportunity to thank the organizing team, head of the departments, faculty friends for their appreciating involvement in making this program a successful one. Thank you, one and all. Once again, on behalf of management, principal, and staff, I thank one and all present here. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Selva Vinayaki, madam, for wrapping
you,
up
ma'am.
the session with your wonderful vote of thanks. Thank you so much. Kind information to all the participants. We have shared the feedback link in the chat box. It will be active for another 1 hour. We request you all to kindly fill the feedback form. And same way, there were so many requests from the participant for the recordings and the PPT. We assure you that we'll be sending you the PPT and the recordings at the earliest. Thank you all for being on board with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anirudhan, sir.
Thank you, Baba sir. Thank you so much.
And
for
thank
being
you,
with
sir.
us.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.